I went to sleep with an ant head inside of my eye. Hello, and thank you for clicking on my video. I appreciate your views. I am once again on my porch swing telling stories. So a couple of days ago was my 2-year anniversary here on YouTube, and I have, the last time I checked, 218 subscribers. Hello, 218 of you beautiful people. So today I just wanted to sit down and reflect on why I started this channel and tell a few stories. So 2 years ago I was very into Gabby Hanna and her channel. I know she's very controversial right now, but I was a big fan of hers. I actually have her merch shirt. It says YouTube is my therapy. I love that shirt. The whole reason I started my channel was to tell story times the way that she did. Now I'm camera shy, so I haven't been brave enough to tell stories, but I'm changing that today on my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. I'm going to be telling stories, 3 of them. I have 3 stories to tell you, and these are all creepy bug stories. Creepy bug stories. I don't like bugs. I think a lot of people don't like bugs. Flying bugs, creepy crawly bugs. So this is just going to be 3 short stories of bug-related things that have happened in my life. I'm going to start the stories off really mild, really easy, short stories that aren't too creepy, but you'll want to stick around for the last one. That last story is a doozy, and it's my favorite story to tell. In October of 2014, my husband and I were sitting on the couch. We were eating. It was kind of raining outside, and we kept hearing this noise. It was like tick, 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 tick. It was just this continuous ticking noise, and it was driving us crazy. And our first thought was, well, it's raining, maybe the window's leaking and the water's dripping. Because at my mom's house, when I lived there, the back door window would leak, and you could hear the tick, tick, tick of it dripping. And that's kind of what it reminded me of. We pull the couch out, and then we inspect the area, and we're not seeing any water, we're not seeing any leaks in the window. So we go outside to check the exterior wall to see if there's anything that we can see, any water dripping into the house. And we do see this bug that's like in the spider web in the window on the inside, but you know, we didn't really pay much attention to it. So he's inspecting the exterior of the house, and then I go back inside and I check out that bug that's in the spider web. And the bug, its body is like, it's like flinching like this, and it's flinching to the same intervals as the clicking noise. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And then I'm staring at the bug very intently, and I realize that it's the bug making the noise. It's going click, 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 click inside of the spider web. So I go to Google and I Google it, and it is called a click beetle. That's just what they do. They make the clicking noise. I'm guessing it's like a distress call, and they're just like clicking to like ward off predators or send help or whatever. I don't know. So there was no mold in my walls. There was no leak. We were very panicked. We were very concerned that we would have to take the wall apart and fix it. But thankfully it was just a weird bug that I've never heard of before. See? A nice, easy bug story. This next story happened just a few weeks ago, so it's fresh in my brain, and I don't really have to look at my notes for this one. My husband is basically like an exterminator around the garden. He hates pests. He especially Japanese beetles, but that's a whole different video. Oh, he is always walking around killing moths, killing bugs, trying to keep our garden intact, because these bugs can cause so much damage to our produce and our flowers. My roses are all ate up at the barn because of Japanese beetles. He found these little bugs. They're just little skinny little bugs on the potato plants on the farm. So he grabbed some pliers and started just smashing all of these little bugs. He was doing this for a couple of days, and he's just smashing them. And then one morning he woke up and he had a blister on his hand, like just a weird looking blister that came out of nowhere, and he had no idea where it came from. So he did some research on Google. He finds out that these beetles that he's been smashing with pliers are called blister beetles. Now, he didn't actually touch a beetle. He was using pliers to kill them, thankfully. He actually touched the potato plant that the beetles were on, and that's how he got the blister. Now, I'm going to show you some rather graphic images from Google of people with blisters from these bugs. Now, my husband's case was really mild because he didn't actually touch the beetles. He only touched the plant that the beetles were on. They create these giant blisters, these big seeping wounds, and it's really gross and it looks very painful. And my husband was very lucky he only had one tiny little blister on his wrist. And these look very common, and they have very different color varieties. So and a lot of them look a lot like lightning bugs, which kind of scares me because you know how kids like to go catching all the lightning bugs at night. It's just a fun summer thing to do. In the Midwest, I know they don't have lightning bugs in the South or out West, but in the Midwest, we have lightning bugs, and these blister beetles, some of them look a lot like lightning bugs, so just warning you. And now for my favorite story. I love telling the story because the look on people's faces, they are so creeped out and grossed out, and I just love telling the story. It's so fun. This happened in June of 2017. It feels like so much longer than that, but in June of 2017, this happened. So it's late at night, it's probably after midnight, it's probably like 2 in the morning knowing me, and I get up to go to bed. I go to the bathroom first, and as I'm leaving the bathroom, I notice in the mirror that there is something black in the corner of my eye. So I'm like, that's really weird because I don't feel anything in my eye. There's no eyelash in there. Like, it doesn't feel irritated, it's not watering, it doesn't hurt. So I go closer to the mirror and I see what it is in my eye is a little sugar ant. Just a tiny little ant in the corner of my eye. I'm like, okay, that's kind of gross. That's kind of freaky. So I grab a Q-tip and I'm trying to sweep it out of my eye, and it's not budging, it's not coming out, and I use some force and I'm trying to dig this thing out of my eye and it's not working. So I get real close up to the mirror and I look, and its head is buried in the little pink fleshy flap in the corner of my eye. The head is buried inside of my eyeball. Now, I like to think I'm calm in scary situations. I'm a very logical thinker. I don't like panicking, but I started to panic, and I'm like, okay, there's an ant in my eye. Do ants carry diseases? Am I going to get an infection and go blind? Am I going to lose my eye? What if this thing burrows inside of my eye and eats my optical nerve? Like, all these things are going through my head, and I'm like, okay, do I need to wake up my husband? Is this an emergency? He goes to work really early, and I really don't want to wake him up if it's not an emergency. So I'm debating whether or not I need to wake him up. Do I need to go to the hospital? I really don't want to go to the hospital. Hospitals freak me out. I want to avoid them at all costs. So I'm like digging out this ant with a Q-tip, freaking out. I am digging into it with this Q-tip, trying to get it out, and it's just clamped on to my eye flesh. It's got its jaws on my eye flesh, okay? How does this not hurt? Like, I feel no pain from this. I don't know how that's even possible. So while I'm digging it out, I end up detaching the body from the head. Like, it just disconnected from the head. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was able to get the body out of my eye at least. Making some progress. Okay, got the body out. Now the head, I actually have to like lift up the flap in the corner of my eye here to see it. So if I'm just looking straight on, you couldn't see it. It's literally inside of my eyeball. And I have to lift up the flap and try to get it out, and it's just not coming out. It is like, it's got its jaws clamped down on my eyeball flesh for dear life, even though I just killed it because I just detached the body. I decapitated it essentially. So here's my train of thought at this moment, okay? I'm thinking, well, it's dead now. It's not alive. It was probably like suffocated and dead the whole time anyways. But so my thinking is, and I learned this from watching CSI or something, you know, the nerves are like, you know, spazzing out because it's dead. When you die, your nerves spaz out or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. But the I'm guessing that the jaws are just clamped down and can't release because of the nerves. So I'm thinking, well, maybe in a few hours those nerves will relax and the jaws will like detach from my skin. I went to sleep with an ant head inside of my eye. I just went to sleep. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to get it out. I'm irritating my eye by trying to dig it out. And I tried to use tweezers, and having tweezers that close to your eye really freaked me out. I was afraid of scratching my cornea, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to sleep with this thing in my eye. And when I wake up, I should be able just to sweep it out, okay? I'm hoping. And if I can't find the head, I'll probably go to the ER if it causes an issue or something. So I go to sleep. I don't know how I slept because I was totally panicking, but I woke up, I went to the mirror, I pulled back the little eye flap, and I looked, took a Q-tip, and I swept the head out of my eyeball, and I never got an infection. The look on my husband's face when I was telling him the story when he got home from work was so funny. I'm pretty sure he didn't believe me. I'm pretty sure he thought I was telling him about a dream that I had, but the look on his face was like, I can't believe you didn't panic and scream and wake me up. Like, I know, because when it comes to bugs, I'm a screamer, especially the stupid flying grasshoppers that are all over the place right now. Actually, the other day, I was at the barn, I was walking up to my car, and I had a freaking flying grasshopper fly right into my eye, the same eye the ant was in. Man, that freaked me out. I hate bugs. I don't like them at all. And I had an ant stuck in my eyeball. So I was telling my sister the story not too long ago, and I've told her the story before, but we were in Walmart and she was looking for eye drops or something. And I told her the story, and there was an employee working there who was listening in on the story, and the look of horror on his face, like, is she serious right now? Like, she seriously had an ant in her eye? Yes, I seriously did. So gross. So that's my 3 stories of weird bug situations that I've had over the years. And hopefully this was an entertaining video, and hopefully this opens the door to more story times, because I like telling stories. I'm just very shy in front of the camera, and I don't feel like I can convey the story in an entertaining fashion enough to be worthy of a video. Anyways, thank you for 2 years on YouTube. I appreciate all of you. Please subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. Probably in a week or 2 I'll be having a back to school haul. My daughter is going into middle school this year, so that's exciting. So subscribe and have a great day. Bye.